think.
There we go.
There they just lit up.
Okay, they all lit up. So what you had sent, who did you send this information to? Because I didn't get anything.
The remonstrance was received this morning.
I didn't
The
receive.
letter from remonstrance,
Yeah.
Mhm.
we received that this morning.
Right, but if you, where's this
I didn't.
communication happening?
Which one?
Oh,
In
no.
regards to this Michael Master form?
This one I saw it for the first time when I came here right now.
Okay, sorry, I thought I heard you say that you responded
I
and,
think mine came across last night on my city email.
okay, because this is the first time I've seen this. So
Mhm.
that's, I'm just making sure I didn't miss something.
Same here, a couple, I was just looking at the comments. Item number 2, here is the definition size of accessory structures. That is the 400 square feet, this is within the floodplain ordinance. So it has a different definition of accessory structure for the purpose of the floodplain ordinance, not the UDO as a whole. Number 4, talking about accessory dwelling units, he's commenting about them requiring a special exception, and thinks they should be a permitted use. That is one of the changes that's on the
Yeah,
data sheet.
correct.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that one is also being addressed.
Can you, I'm sorry, can you go back, what was the first bullet point that you?
Number 2, he's referring to section 2.9C.
Mhm.
This is in the floodplain overlays, essentially the state's floodplain regulations. And this is, section C is the definitions. And the definition of accessory structure for the purposes of the floodplain ordinance is that an accessory structure means a structure with a floor area of 400 square feet or less.
Mhm.
So it's just identifying what that is.
So if,
We do not have there is not a limitation on the size of the accessory structure.
So the ADU can be larger than the primary.
This is-
No, we don't have square footage. This is written, number 2 is written as if there's it's limiting accessory structures to be 400 square feet or less. That's not the case. What this definition in 9.2C is specific to the floodplain regs, and that's
Right.
how
I agree.
how that phrase is being used in the context of that section, within the context of the floodplain regulations.
chain link fencing, prohibiting chain link fencing outside the rear yards may create financial hardship for property owners who cannot afford more expensive materials.
And, I know we considered that at least in our committee. I don't know if we addressed it here. It was an aesthetic
Mhm.
decision.
And if anything, they can come to the BZA.
Yep.
Especially if it's a side yard and that comes into the front, what the technical front is for a side yard. So, I mean, they would be open to BZA in that case. It's kind of like that, the same thing of talking about, do we allow gravel driveways anymore? New gravel driveways in the city? If that's something that we want, I know we had talked about, no, it has to be all concrete if it's new.
Yep.
So I think that would fall in the same category as chain link fencing.
And the same with requiring, a survey. I mean, we talked about that and I think leaving it as needing a survey, is the right way to go. Just for the fact of,
Meeting the survey.
yeah, that would be, number 5.
Number 5, one, I think.
Fence on the property line.
Because as the way it stands currently, you can put it right on the property line.
Right,
They recommend a foot off,
right.
just so you can service your fence without encroaching on the neighbor's property.
Right.
And I just did a survey.
So what the new UDO is saying is that the fence can not be within 10 feet of the property line?
No, what we're
Without
saying
a
With-
is,
survey.
Without a survey.
yeah,
You either have to have a survey or notarized permission per se
From
from
your
the neighbors.
And how much is a survey?
Not cheap.
it's not cheap, but it's why we have the notarized, essentially, the approval that your neighbors understand where the fence is and they don't have an issue with the fence location.
We kind of have the same thing on the county side when it comes to a pond permit, where if, we have somebody can just sign a document that allows it to be closer within the setback, so I get that part.
Because a general survey is probably,
So
what's a general survey, Jason? $500-600?
More than that. more-
Right.
Trying to be nice
For
here.
Black Friday.
and where's the coupons? I haven't seen them.
Not the
So
surveyor, so I don't know.
So I guess let's address that one. I think the simplest way to say it is if you go to your neighbors and you say, I'm going to build a fence here. Are you okay with that? Please sign this. Everybody's okay. And if they're not nice neighbors and they say, no, you can't.
And generally,
Right.
that's the reason
Then
they
you
want a
gotta do
fence
a
in the first
survey.
place.
Right,
They don't
so
like the
you're-
neighbors,
you're
so it's gonna
paying-
cost them a bunch of money to get a
For-
fence put up.
But a lot of times you don't know where your property line is anyway.
Yeah.
It's true.
So,
I have no idea where mine are.
You're right.
You should get a survey.
Well,
no
you're in the
matter what.
fringe.
Well, I still have property lines.
Oh, I know. But, I mean, your lot's a lot bigger than what
For
most people
example,
in the
currently,
town
my
are.
neighbor's fence is on my property by 1.5 feet.
And if there would have been a survey, you would have known that, or
Right.
they would have known
And
that.
I offered to go over and cut down the chainsaw and push it over, and everybody says, no. Michael Benjamin actually told me that, no, you can't do that.
But that's why I believe we should require a survey, or at least get notarized from your neighbor saying it's okay.
Mhm.
Because if your neighbor's not okay with it, then the survey's gonna tell you, this is my property line.
Mhm.
So let's start from the top here. Let's just address all of these. So we've publicly addressed them. Number one, minimum square footage requirements. I think addressing small and tiny homes, those we would consider tiny homes as an accessory structure, an ADU, and through our committee meetings and other meetings we've had here, we don't necessarily want a tiny home built on a city lot.
Right.
So those are to encourage a livable, probably sellable structure to be built. Is why those requirements are there. Accessory structures that we're talking in 2.9, those are related to the floodplain. So that's a whole different thing than just an average city lot. Accessory structure setbacks. So accessory structures larger than 200 feet to meet regular principal structure setbacks, and smaller located 10 feet behind the front facade. Again, we're talking about a 200 square foot, shed can be within 5 feet, but a 400 square foot building, we want farther off, and I think that's to not encroach on other people's, your neighbors, right? So you're not putting them in the shade all day, maybe. So anybody have any concerns with those? Okay. ADUs, we want to be as a special exception. We don't. We don't. We have changed that to make them permitted.
Yeah, that's on the road.
When we made that change with our last meeting, I believe. Fence location, we just went over. Chain link fencing, we talked about that just a second ago as well. In the back, great. In the front, if you need chain link in the front, you would come and plead your case. Number 7, architectural standards. In 5.3, are we talking about new
Yes.
neighborhoods, new subdivision
Yes,
neighborhoods?
That's the intent of that section.
Right.
And we're looking for subdivisions to need 5 or more dwelling units.
Yes.
Mhm.
So these would not apply to a minor subdivision.
Yeah.
Correct. Or a division of a single parcel for a family home.
Yeah.
I'll use Tom's parcel as an example. They would not. The 5.3 architectural standards would not apply here.
And let me just clarify, because I'm looking at the second sentence in 5.3A1. and let's just clarify that these standards apply to all residential buildings. I'd say we strike that middle portion, because I think the intent here was to have it to apply to like duplexes or other multi-unit buildings. I see it says 1 to 4 dwelling units located on an unplatted parcel. I think that was really the intent. There was more of the duplexes and triplexes, if those are coming in on an unplatted parcel. In other words, an existing city lot, or within a subdivision containing 5 or more dwelling units. That'd be, and the reason for that split is so that the minor subdivisions are not under the architectural standards. So I guess my clarification, repetition is that close above the buildings containing, I would say 2 to 4 dwelling units is what I would change there. 5.3A1.
All right. And I'll say his last sentence in that is, if so, these standards may impose undue burden on small scale property owners and should be limited to larger neighborhood developments. They are.
They are.
That's our.
Once you clarify that.
His last 4 bullet points here. What constitutes complete improvement location permit? Draft references, review, and timelines do not define the objective. I think that depends on what you're building, correct? And what changes you want to make.
Yes, and improvement location permits, common terms, most often you're dealing with building permit.
And you would go to the administrator for that.
Correct.
To find out what you need before you go down that. Does it require content of the permit application vary depending on the type of permit being requested? Yes. That's pretty clear. The new planning department is described as budget neutral. Does this imply that permit application increase will be in fully fund departmental operations, or will existing fee structure remain unchanged? I'll say, first of all, that would go before the council and mayor before it comes here. So go there. And again, what constitutes complete ILP application depends on what you need. Okay. All right, Mr. Nasser, I hope you're watching and listening to this. Hopefully we've answered those questions. We did make an improvement there to 53A1, change the number 1 to number 2. Your last sentence there.
I'm a little dense tonight, so can we go back over number 3, accessory structure setbacks?
Yes, I would address that. So we have a provision in, the provision he's speaking of identifies based on the scale of the accessory structure. So if it is 200 square feet or smaller, it can be closer to the property line, so this is your small shed or things of that nature. If it's larger, then it would have to meet
Have a larger-
the setbacks. So you got to detach the lot to meet the setbacks for the district.
Okay. And then, because I'm dense today, 5 for the fence location requirement. I don't know about you, but I know this is a public meeting and I may or may not have neighbors that I might not get along with. And if I have to depend on them to get a notarized statement stating that I can put a fence up on my property, or to spend $1,000 on a survey to put up a $1,000 fence.
For example, where mine's at, if it was 10 feet, it'd be in the middle of my driveway. And then there's not 10 feet, there's
What would your
6 feet.
alternative be, Mr. Mayor?
I got 6 feet between me and my neighbor.
I think it ought to be the same as it was. You can put it right on the property line.
And this isn't saying you can't put it on the property line, this is saying you have to have
Permission from your neighbor.
you have
No,
or
a
a
survey or permission
It's one or the other.
to put it on the property line.
No, I
But if you're looking at
understand.
more than $600 for a survey, most people can't afford $600
Right,
for a
and then
survey.
if you have a rift
Asshole
with your
neighbor.
neighbor, they're not gonna get a notarized statement.
Right,
Right. If your neighbor says, no, I'm not
Yeah,
participating.
then you're
So
out of luck.
that's what
I mean,
happens when you put the fence in. So let's say there's no requirement, you don't need a survey unless you put your fence in and the neighbor says it's the wrong spot.
Well, in Title 1, I make you take it out. That's the cost to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you put it on that line, you put it on that line, and I tell a lender that you are encroached onto somebody else's fence, they're going to force you to go get a survey. So it proves to me that you didn't put it on somebody else's property. You have now encroached, vice versa. If they encroach on you.
Okay.
Furthermore, whenever you go to sell it, you can't sell it. And the new home buyers, if they take on a property that doesn't have a survey, that's not recorded, that shows me where that fence is, or a location report.
Where my fence is, I don't have, I mean, I didn't get a survey for my fence.
Okay. But
My
we're talking
words
about
would
across
be-
the board.
You get a survey and prove that my fence is on your property.
I would second to that and say, if you don't have enough money to funds to build or to get a survey, but you do to build a fence, then maybe not make the fence so big, and then you have money for a survey.
I highly disagree with that statement. Highly disagree with that statement.
Is the 10 feet the issue or just the fact that there has to
Well,
be one
yeah,
wall?
I mean, if
Yeah.
I put 10 feet in my backyard,
Okay,
for my fence, I would not have a backyard.
I think you can reduce it to 5 or
I was,
something like that.
5 was the number I had.
5 or a foot.
I guess I kind of see what Rich is saying, but, and I really know what Mike's talking about, because you can cloud title and everything.
Yes,
else.
I respect the knowing the law of what needs to be done, but I do not respect the comment of if you don't have enough money for a survey, you shouldn't be getting it. Or
Fence.
you should reduce it.
Maybe reduce it.
Really, that comment is not warranted. But no, I think that the 10 feet is, I mean, like, I wouldn't be able to put a fence in my backyard if it was 10 feet, period.
Basically, the question is here, if a person is to apply to the city government, and if I was to review a fence application, how do we make sure that it is where it is? We don't know exactly where the property lines are, and it's only on the property owner to show us the proof. So,
Yeah, but how did, I mean, before, like, when I got my permit, like, I think I drew on the GIS where I was putting the fence.
Mm-hmm.
and some places do that, but the risk is then if something was wrong, now there could be a conflict in the future between the neighbors. So,
Because them lines
so
are
are we,
shifting.
But
are
that
we
conflict
allowed
still,
to-
but that
always is
conflict could still
conflict.
stand
Yeah.
because that conflict could be there
It
in the
happened
first
at my
place. And that's the reason why you want the fence. And then that conflict is gonna inflict monetary monies being spent that are arbitrary for $1,000. That's a lot of money. Especially if you're already spending that kind of money on a fence. So I don't like this at all. I think that in our community, there are more people in our community that cannot afford that $1,000 survey
Absolutely.
than not. So to me, for our community and the people that we're here to represent, I don't like that at all. And I don't like relying on, and I don't know what the solution is. I'm just telling you that these are the things that I dislike. That I dislike, that I have to rely on my neighbor to tell me it's okay to put a fence on my property. I get that's what a survey would circumvent, but how many times in the last 10 years has there been a lawsuit or something going back and forth because a fence was placed where it shouldn't have been in Tipton, in the city of Tipton?
I know last summer they had to tear down one. Judy had
Judy
tore
had
down.
one tore down.
Yeah.
When was the last
one that I know
before
of.
that? Right.
Yeah.
Like, how often does this happen?
I've had a neighbor, because he built it on the neighbor's fence, go in through a sale, explain and request from the neighbor, and I requested exactly what this is saying. Give me a letter that I can record, that I can see that the neighbor is allowing this encroachment onto the property. And we're talking about 1.5 feet, because I had to see it, that he was okay with it, and he binds him and anybody else further down the line.
Right. I mean, like, if I get a letter from my neighbor and that neighbor in 5 years moves and then I'm wanting to move, and next thing you know, that neighbor's not there anymore, what does the notarized letter say?
Well, it's
That's
recorded.
previous.
That's why it's recorded.
That's where, yeah, that's why we record it.
Recorded.
So that we don't have that issue.
I-
'Cause-
I think this
'cause
infringes
while we
on,
don't
I
see
think
it as
this,
much,
I think
do
this
agree.
infringes
That-
on
that-
my
that is something
personal,
that does happen.
on me personally. This infringes on my property and what I own, to have to get my neighbors to say, okay, and then, because I know what the process has been currently. I say, this is where I want to put my fence, and it goes through the planning department, and they say, okay, let's move forward. What do other communities do? Do we know? Other communities do for a fence? Do they have to get a
They
survey?
require a survey.
This language we have here is very common with what we're putting in a lot of our ordinances, just because we are getting that.
In
level of-
communities our size.
Yeah. Rosetown, others,
Excuse me.
because this ends up being, it's one of those things that while we might not see it as the commission, the staff sees it. And are the ones that get to deal with that.
Sure.
So I don't think they always have to set up that there's a conflict with the neighbor. Trust me, there's plenty of work to do for surveyors. But what it does do, it protects Scott and M's easements, Dylan's right away. It does help with that along those lines. It maybe starts with the conversation with the neighbor. If I gotta do one of these two paths, I remember talking about, hey, I want to put this fence up. Usually what I always see it boiling down to is, like Michelle's talking, cost. Who's gonna pay for the survey? Who's gonna pay for the fence? Who's gonna cost sharing this? But I'm sure you guys have ran across lots of problems with fences, especially when you have to go and do, I know where Michelle
We have
lives, but, there's probably, there's no easements on hers, but you get stuff in your utilities all the time.
Yep.
And then it's a hassle. People don't know it. Mike knows it when they go to look at their title commitment. Man, I did not know, and Michelle handled that in mortgages and stuff. You don't know, but you don't, because you don't read those title commitments.
We have a lot of fences in the city's right of way and alleys that make it tough for us to get our trash trucks down, our vehicles down, or any of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I do have an easement. I do own a piece of land from my property all the way back to the alley. And I do have a removable fence, but you can't get anything through it,
No.
even if you wanted to. You'd have to come in from the alley no matter what, but
I mean, I see you trying to address it, and I personally do think 10 feet is large. If you're that clouded and that tight, you should be getting a survey done anyway. And there is some responsibility, can't be in everybody's position, but there is some responsibility with owning real property. And one of them is to kind of make sure that you're doing what you want to do on your property and meeting all those requirements. I do get it, cost is.
I think
So-
the only other version that is somewhat relevant to what I've seen is if the city's attorney developed a letter that basically anyone who applies for the fence permit signs off on saying that if I happen to put my fence somewhere, beyond my property lines or into the easements that other people can go in, I am okay that someone can go in and remove them. So basically, every applicant signed that with every fence application, and the city or the town is not,
held liable.
yeah, that. So, but that's more a way to say, we agree then to not, force. We still want to see that the fence is exactly where it needs to be, because as a city, we still sign off on the permit, and then people come back and say, why did you approve this, But we only can approve, with the data that we have, and we don't have exact survey data all the time, unfortunately. And so with a lot of other permits, typically you do receive a survey, right, with other developments. And so it is the question of how much do you want to make the person make that investment, but also how much then the city is liable, how much people then will have to do the work of removing the fence where it was not supposed to be, when we could prevent that in the first place.
I know 10 feet's way too much.
Because what is this, 3 feet? It's 30 centimeters.
25, 30.
I don't have 10 feet between me and my neighbor.
How about 3?
3, I have.
Because this is 30, right?
It'd be 6 equal on both sides.
I could,
I'm sorry.
It'd be 6 equal on both sides, right? 3 on my side, 3 on your side,
Right, if they're,
which would give,
but, okay, so in this instance, how, if you wanted your fence to, basically, if you wanted to join your fence to your neighbor's fence, like, that's the way my backyard is.
Mhm.
This would say that you couldn't do that unless you got a letter from the
Mhm.
neighbor. Is that what this is saying?
As far as the location of having the fence coming within that, coming in, if there's a question about where the property line is, then yes. Now, if you've got, say your neighbor has,
Like my
Let's
fence,
take our-
my fence touches both my neighbor's fences. There's no space in between.
I think a plain reading of this, if your fence didn't exist, your neighbors both did, yes, you have to either get a survey or a letter,
Or go within 10 feet.
or stop at 10 feet of your property line.
Or, so we can.
well,
keep it-
and part of that would be, what if your neighbors intentionally stayed up away from the property line? You couldn't
Yeah,
encroach on their
'cause
property.
they wanted to
Right.
mow.
You couldn't.
My-
go-
my
If
husband
they wanted to
agrees.
mow, Bowman likes
They're
to mow his
foot and a
lawn
half
in a certain way.
inside their property
Outside
line.
of it, right?
So I couldn't join their fence because I'm on their land.
Your neighbor.
That's like mine. I put a foot off of the property line so I could go to the other side service.
So
the
if
fence.
Michelle's your neighbor, she can't build a fence to your fence.
I would give her a letter.
Yeah, I mean, that does bring up that, right? My last neighbor
Right.
was a foot and a half or two inside their property line.
Because I know of a guy in the north end of town that he had a problem with his fence. It was on the property line and they were building it. And the neighbor come over and threatened to beat them with a 2x4 if they didn't get off our property. And I told him just stick their head through there because I was building inspector then. It's just stick your head through there. Then you won't have to be on their property.
I would suggest that they change the language down to 3 feet.
3
simply Because that's where you can get a mower through if you
Yeah.
can
Right.
maintain on your side of the fence.
That's what I was saying.
And then,
21
I
inch
don't have a
mower,
problem with
22,
survey
yeah,
part being there.
absolutely.
I would like to see something about existing fences. If Mike Bowman comes in and he doesn't know where his fence is at, but he wants to replace the one, then he should be able to do that without having to get
The
either a
permit.
survey or
Yeah.
a signature one,
Yeah.
as long as he's gonna pay for it. I mean, he's still gotta get a permit, we want the money.
Right. No.
No, you're right.
Yeah, it's just-
But even if Michelle's is connecting to another fence, if she comes in as replacing that, I think that.
Should be able to
she
do
should be
that.
able to do that.
Mhm.
Any
I like
existing
that.
fence.
So his, unless I'm finding the wrong thing, his 51A3 is not the correct citation.
Yeah,
We're
it's six.
It's
6'1".
6'1",
Yeah,
okay.
type of one.
So let's go there. And we'll just,
So this is
Three.
chapter 6, page 3. About a quarter way down. That's number 3. For application of a fence or wall is within 10 feet of the property line. You're saying change that to 3 feet.
Bill,
anybody disagree with 3 feet? Are we okay with 3 feet?
Mhm.
Okay.
and then there should be some language, I don't have that. in
Yeah,
front of me.
Replacement.
but we'll say that, repair or replacement of an existing fence back in its same location.
Yeah.
To me, that almost comes almost into maintenance, right? You got-
Right.
Yeah,
You had a bad panel and there's
Mhm.
replacement,
Yeah.
so. But, to that end, we can add language in there that identifies the, repair or replacement of existing fence.
Yeah, as long as you-
Location is exempt from that
As
requirement.
long as you got replacement and you're not limiting the type of material they're replacing with.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if they want to go to a 6-foot privacy fence, because Mike now doesn't get along with his neighbors.
It happens.
He's hard to deal with.
So life. Okay, so we're going to 3 feet. And Brian, you guys are gonna, repair replacement, is exempt from these,
Yes.
right? As long as you're. Okay. Everybody okay with that last point?
I think it's good discussion. Good-
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, very good.
Absolutely. And I didn't realize you were charging that much. Why don't you have much car?
I'll miss me when I'm gone.
You could just run out there and throw flags down, Jason, if you wanted to.
Who's gonna know? I mean, okay. Okay, so Mr. Nasser, we've addressed, I hope your issues and made some changes.
Mike, there was a section in there, my esteemed colleague here
Mhm.
was talking about utilities, and he's an expert in it,
Okay,
maybe with above ground and underground. Scott, you remember what
I'm just, since I'm late to the game, I've perused through some of that.
Okay.
But some of it, when it came to the utilities, I did notice there were some things that might not be exactly right, and I don't know
Okay.
if it's too late for me to catch up with that.
No.
But I do know, like, I think
Tonight's
I
the
read
night.
in there, or maybe on chapter 5 or something, there was a small paragraph that said, like, with utilities, that the electrical must be buried. And right now, we have options of either. I think in subdivisions we do buried, but
In chapter 5 is talking about a new subdivision,
it's
for lack of a
the active life was all utilities that, so I don't know if it just pertained, it might have been 6, I'm sorry.
Yeah, chapter 5, page 31, it's section 513 is utilities.
Maybe, yeah.
Yep.
And so it applies to development with major subdivisions, and site plans. So let's see.
Utilities, and 513C is utilities must be installed underground and designated easements of right of way. Is that,
And that's in
Does that
a new
sound-
subdivision?
But is that in any building or?
no, so that would be in a new, if Arbor comes and builds a new neighborhood, right? Because subdivision gets thrown around as a,
Yeah.
we used to call them subdivisions, now it's a neighborhood. Yes, those would be, in town, existing lot, no.
So, but to your point, you may do overhead like electric? Okay, so I'm trying to think of what I would recommend there then is, unless otherwise waived by the utility department or something of that nature. Is there like a person that's doing that, or what's the best way for me to say that?
Well, that's the hard part right now, is we're trying to get it into more organized as far as that kind of stuff. So usually whenever something is being built, then the department head, the electric, water, and sewer will all show up and kind of give them
Right.
the advice, but there's not really anything structurally on paper yet that we would like to get more organized on.
Okay.
Through the.
I've got a suggestion then. So because the term administrator is what we use in the ordinance, and that can be either the planning director or the person that's doing that review on behalf of the city. And so I would suggest that for 513C, the language about being underground, that we keep that, but we say unless otherwise waived by the administrator. And that way it allows the city departments to allow it to be.
Makes sense.
And I'm sorry, Scott, I don't know what you do, what,
So I've been with Tipping Utilities for 25 years.
okay,
So
Great.
right now I work directly under Jim Micro, the
Okay.
building manager, so. But we have this with all the departments, so that's why I said I
Yeah.
wasn't able to catch up and see how this UDO dealt with the utility side,
no,
so.
I'm glad you bring it up, right?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
That's, we had Jason with all the drainage stuff, right?
I
None of us know in here know
I might
anything about
have a lot
drainage.
more to bring to the table, but like I said, I haven't had a chance to read through it to tell you
And
all of it.
And even if we were to move forward with this, and it gets passed through, please still take a look at it and bring your recommendations, because we can always
Change
alter
it.
this.
We can-
We can always change it.
We can,
Yes.
so we can recommend this tonight. I don't want to say
Mhm.
pass because we don't pass it.
Right.
Then next month, right, you've gone through it, you found 6 things you want to have us change. We agree to 6 of them. We make another recommendation to the city council
Mhm.
to alter
Amend.
this ordinance, to amend, yeah. a better way. So we can do that at any point we want.
Yeah, I
really.
would still
Now, the
encourage
city
you-
council has to approve it,
Right.
but generally they,
Because you have that knowledge, like, I mean,
Yes.
we don't.
thank you. That's awesome.
And that's why we as preparers of the ordinance actually do this in Word. So you actually have the Word files. No, because you should be.
Sure.
I encourage every community to do annual updates. Just keep a list of these little things you want to
Mhm.
change.
And I'll say, I think,
And the same goes with you, Dylan. If you see something in there, bring it to us so we can do the amendment.
Luckily, I was on the panel,
Yeah.
so we discussed a lot of this.
Right.
At least from the street department aspect of it.
Yep.
So.
Because people do things to the street now that they shouldn't.
Oh,
And that's something we as a planning commission need, we need to do better at that, right? Look through this. It's a living document. It's a growing
Yes.
thing. Our city changes. What changes do we need to make to this to make administration's life easier, citizens' life easier,
Mhm.
right?
You'll see that, as time goes by, hopefully Oksana might bring to our attention that we need to look into something. And so we'll create a standing committee, and that standing committee will meet outside of this meeting, review and research whatever that item of topic would be, and then bring back a recommendation to the this body. So, I think it's great, 2 great additions. You have the 2 of you have so much knowledge to bring to this panel, so very happy to see that.
Okay.
That was a kudos to our mayor.
Kudos.
That's on record.
All right. So we are to the, we just came out of the planning of the public hearing, right? We've had all our discussion. We have more discussion with the UDO as it is. With the errata sheet, the changes we made tonight.
And that's what's gonna be presented.
Yes. They have to advertise it and so just pick it up next 2 weeks. Okay. Oksana, you were mentioning
Do you wanna close
away the
this?
motion. I closed it over here.
Yes. So basically, you can either, do a motion to forward a favorable recommendation and the staff memo lists, the language to say after that. And then if you want to add any changes to it, you can also kind of pile it on
Okay.
to that, whatever the changes you guys decide to add on. So you talked about the fence and you talked about the utilities, right? Add that to that errata sheet, for example,
And all that has to be mentioned in the favorable recommendation.
Yes.
Just
Well, but
the
I can just, because I've got notes on
That's good because I can't remember all
it.
Mike's gonna make a note. That's why he's
Sorta.
the president.
Okay. I
Right.
can make a note, but that's
Right. I like that so moved.
Before we do that, could we talk about,
Speak
Like I
up,
said,
buddy.
so I'll take
Hold
this
on.
month then to clarify for the record, the errata sheet, the items that we've got the errata sheet here.
Mhm.
And then we've added 3 items to the errata sheet.
Mhm.
Number 1 is that in 5.3A1, we're gonna change the number from 1, that was the.
To 2.
1 to 4 units, that's gonna change from 1, so from 2 to 4 units.
yep,
In section 5.13C, we're talking about undergrounding utilities, we're gonna add at the end of that sentence, unless otherwise waived by the administrator, waived in writing by the administrator,
Waived and what?
in writing.
in writing.
In writing.
That avoids the,
Well, they said it.
they said,
Uh,
I do whatever I want.
Right.
And then the last one is in 6.1A3, that's dealing with the fences. That we're gonna change the distance of 10 feet from the property line to 3 feet, and then add in a sentence that identifies that existing fences are being repaired or replaced or exempt from that requirement. That is the amended errata sheet.
So either one of you correct me. I think if a motion was to make a recommendation either way with the UDO draft B and the errata sheet as amended tonight, that would
Yes.
cover us? Okay.
Yes.
Would anybody care to make a motion either way? And the motion is favorable or unfavorable?
I guess I would make a motion to send a favorable recommendation to the city of Tipton that we, with the noted changes.
I second that motion.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Michelle. We do have a motion and a second. For this, we do need a roll call vote. So are you ready?
Sure.
All right. We'll start with, or go ahead, you call.
First, tell me who did the motion and who seconded it?
Jason Henderson made the motion, Michelle Owens, second.
Mike Benjamin,
I agree.
Michael Bowman,
Yay.
Jackie Cardin.
Yay.
Is Rich Carter here yet?
No.
Dylan Dietrich,
Yeah.
Jason Henderson,
I'm non-voting.
oh, you. Michelle Owens,
Yes. Yeah.
Scott Reeser,
Yeah,
Rich, how do you pronounce your last name?
Bottom.
Rich Bott.
Yes. And yes.
So we are 6-7-0, 7-0, favorable to the city council. All right. Thank you, everyone. That was a long couple months. Item number 2. This is not a public hearing item. These are our rules and procedures. We've had these for a little while. I do have some questions and concerns.
Here, here.
What's that?
I'm waiting to listen to about
Okay.
those concerns
We'll see
here, but
who goes over what here.
So I can just, so basically because we are moving to do these things independently and we have a new UDO, it's good to have rules and procedures that work together. The new set is like a good standard set. We try to include a few provisions that already exist, as well as we just have, again, like a good base, so we can then discuss what else we would want to change. And also because this is the first one that you see, you actually don't have to vote on it today. You can discuss it, I can change it, I can bring it back to the next meeting, and then we can vote then.
Will there be a separate set of rules for BZA?
Yes,
I did notice in their rules, though, that they don't talk anything about, recusing or stepping away from.
Mhm. That's one of mine.
Recusing, where you
Abstention.
abstain, we have to step away because of.
Mhm.
I guess I just didn't say it.
I would like
The very
to
last
see
end
if
of
you
it.
consider the
Is it?
BZA,
Mhm.
that it's mandatory
Mhm.
that they recuse or abstain if their project they're considering is within 600 feet. I know that doesn't affect this body. It just seems to help with the decision. If you know somebody or if it, is it going to impact your property? We've gotten legal advice where on the county side, obviously we have more ground, but we're going to set one where it's, if you're within 2 miles of a proposed BZA variance, you have to recuse yourself. And that puts a lot of pressure on these guys over here because you need the alternate members.
Mhm.
But I still think it's something that protects litigation and protects the board. But
Well, for us also, I mean, being with the street department, I am in the near future hoping to get a building permit for a building for the city.
Mhm.
So I would need to abstain from any.
Yep.
Yeah,
voting on that.
absolutely.
So
Denied.
I think something needs to be in there.
So,
we'll just focus on planning commission rules only.
Sure.
Okay.
So.
yeah, let's start page 1. Does anybody have anything? We'll just go through it kind of systematically.
Mhm.
with the appendix.
I'm sorry, not the table of contents, with Article 1.
Okay.
Sorry.
I know you're
Page
thorough.
3.
Page 3. Does anybody have a problem with the number of pages we have and the way they're? Article 1.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Item 4.
Item 4, okay?
It says nothing in the rules should be construed to give or grant the commissioner the power or authority to alter or change the UDO, which kind of stops everything that we do. It does it not?
You don't have the right to approve anything, you can do recommendations.
We can only do
That's
rec-
more of a-
Right. So we did not approve the UDO. We only said
We
the
can
city
pass it
council
up, right?
should approve the
Okay.
UDO.
Okay.
I got stuck on that a while back too. So.
The rule is a reminder to you guys that you don't create laws, you recommend them.
Same thing when we get to it with fee schedules and all that. We don't set the fees. We only recommend what they should be.
Okay.
Anything else in Article 1? Okay.
I'm good.
Article 2, dealing with officers, members, and duties. I do have something for the secretary, which is going to be the zoning administrator. I would like something for education. 2 hours a year was what came to mind. We have nothing in here that, I mean, for the most part, we are not planners, right? We are citizens. So anything to help us learn things, the couple that I've been to have been helpful. So under duties, I think number C, 10. I don't know how, somebody help me word it, but provides 2 hours of training per year, or however many hours we want to
Mhm.
require.
So basically, you would like the secretary to provide some training.
Yeah, maybe facilitate 2 hours of yearly training.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because I did forget to read this. Is there any language in here for new members?
No.
So there's nothing in here for new members and any type of training for new members?
No.
I would highly recommend finding some language
Okay.
for new
This
members.
is one that shows it.
What? So
Yep. The ABC.
would you say these
Yeah.
two are new members? This is a new
Mhm.
board, right? Technically, all of us are new.
Mhm.
So, so
Like I know I went, I mean, I knew nothing
Oh, yeah.
when I started. So we went through, I think it was a state book.
Yep.
A state training that walked you through planning
Mhm.
and BZA. We didn't go through the whole thing because it's pretty big, but the director at that point like pointed out certain chapters that we should really pay attention to, and we did go over those. It was
So-
only about an hour.
So would we say under commission responsibilities,
Mhm.
meet with administrator to discuss the Indiana planners? What's that called?
Yeah.
There's a citizen planner.
City, Indiana Citizen
Mhm.
Planner. So,
So the planning commissioner is responsible for reviewing some material, but also the secretary or the administrator can
Mhm.
help
Yep.
do
Right.
the introduction and.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, because my first year, I mean, I spent a lot of time
I did
in
too.
the planning office just because I didn't
There were lots
quite
of emails.
understand. And just having, talking, questioning.
And I would say just keep it pretty general. It is a good guy, that one guy, but there's other training that's out there. I
Yeah.
know, for example, Wayne has done training for folks, really focusing on the board members and what parts of the EDO do you use and
Mhm.
how to, she couches it in terms of how to make legally defensible decisions.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
could we say something like, meet with administrator for training with the citizen planning guide or other relevant training?
Mhm.
Something like that. Adopting a seal is 5E. I have no idea what that means.
We have one at the county that they seal documents with.
Is that
certified
a-
copies and things
is
like
that-
So the state, basically, this is the language from the state statute. That
Okay.
Every community is supposed to have a seal, that when you sign it, you put a seal. And every time I look around, everyone just signs.
Okay.
I don't know what happens with it, but it's one of those things that we just copy from the state because
Okay.
the state has it, but at the end of the day, when you sign documents, make things official, it's
Okay.
usually signature is fine. I don't know, what do you, Jason, see?
No, yeah, well, they get big on an official like crimper over there, or maybe even stamp, but yeah, I think you're right. Whenever that term legally says seal, that just means your signature.
Okay.
But yeah, they do have, you've got one at the county.
Is it for the council and the commissioners or for the planning commission?
Well, the auditor has one, the commissioners have their own.
Okay.
So everybody's,
Okay.
A commission could have it because, for example, the primary plat,
Mm.
this is your jurisdiction to
Yep.
approve.
Yep.
So you want to have some sort of a way to say, yes, we did it.
Okay.
Signatures is one.
With-
If
right.
you want to, we
Mhm.
We get real fancy. What's the budget for that?
I feel like I already started giving them a list of what I would like to.
Yeah,
do now.
yeah.
You can order
That's
it,
included in their monthly stipend, right?
Office
you can
supplies.
order it on Amazon.
I think G should also have, with the adoption of a fee schedule, make recommendations to the city council concerning adoptions of a fee schedule,
Mhm.
which is something I think we should look at. We just looked at it, but maybe just go through it one more time soon. This may go against what you said, Jason, but say again when I say it to make sure of it. Somewhere in our responsibilities would be to vote in the planning commission specifically without a conflict of interest being a concern. I don't think we should be allowed to abstain.
oh, no, I agree.
Right. If you don't have a conflict of interest, voting is required. A yes or no vote is required. Abstention should not be permitted.
Yes, we have had a member in the past abstain with
No reason.
No reason to abstain.
Yeah. And it prevented anything from happening.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. So no is perfectly valid. I don't have a problem with saying somebody
Right.
saying no and everybody says yes, but to not say anything just
Mhm.
skirt your responsibility.
Mhm.
Number 7, vacancies. I would like, so this says the president must inform the appropriate appointing official as promptly as possible when a member fails to attend 3 consecutive meetings or 3 of 7. Being the secretary is the administrator, I think they should inform the appointing official
Yeah.
and the president. I would like to know, who's our slacker.
Who's the secretary?
So that I would be happy to call the mayor or the commissioners to say, hey,
Already.
this person's not appearing.
have
We
one.
need somebody who's going to show up.
Well, I think it also gives the appointing authority a little bit more force to remove somebody that's not.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with ever resigning because everybody's got lives.
Yeah.
So don't-
Yeah. We're all volunteers and
Exactly. But
have plenty going on.
So again, so you're talking about the vacancy?
Yes, I
Mhm.
changed president to secretary and inform the appropriate appointing official and the president as promptly as possible.
So the
7A.
7A, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't-
She said the president or,
The
secretary.
secretary must inform.
The appropriate appointing official and the president. Mike, I kind of kept going there. Do you have anything in that?
No, I'm
area?
following.
Okay, okay. Article 3. Anything?
In the petition filing in document.
Okay. Pretty close to what we used to have. Meetings. Who, 1B, time and place, meeting held 6 p.m. City Hall, no problem there. Unless there is no cause to hold such a meeting. Who determines there is no cause? Previously, it was the chair. It was me. Because we didn't have business, but I remember we had discussion business, but no real decision business to be made. So my thought there was, unless there's no cause to hold such a meeting as determined by the chair.
and that, by the way, so let's say that as staff, I know that we don't have anything going to the public hearing.
Mhm.
Do I check with you then?
Yeah.
To see if there are any other items
Yeah.
to discuss?
Yeah, previously that's how it worked. It worked fine.
Or could the hour be used? Is there any training
Yeah,
that could be done?
Right. I would say, hey, do you have something we could do for training? We haven't met in 2 or 3 months. It'd be great to get everybody together and go over something. Right. And then if we get a lot of pushback that nobody wants to show up, then we can
Mhm.
adjust.
You don't do that in, June, July, August.
I would-
Right? We don't meet in summer. It's not like we're busy in the summer at all, right? And then under D, regular meetings commission may be canceled by the president or staff when no cases are pending. I think that or staff should be struck. The president should determine when we're meeting without cases.
Right.
Mhm.
All right. Number 8, a quorum. Quorum consists of majority of commission members. No action may be official unless authorized by a majority of the commission members at a regular meeting. I think it should be a majority of all commission members at a regular meeting because we can't vote without 6. If it's not 6 in favor or opposed, then
Mhm.
nothing happens. I think the word all there is instead of the.
So the majority all.
Yes, majority of all commission members.
Yeah.
Because I could read this as the majority of the commission members present at a meeting,
Mhm.
right? And that's not true.
But I'm gonna have to ask you
Let me
on
write that down.
9F, if you would please look.
9F,
9F.
at least 50% of the members must be physically present at a meeting involving virtual participation.
50%. What?
I believe that's
State code.
state's code that you can have virtual members, but you can't have only one physical and then everybody else virtual.
Right.
Right.
By state statute, you have to have 50% physically present and then the rest can be virtual. And that came about during the pandemic to.
Okay.
Mr. President, do we have the abilities to do that here?
That was,
I'm not aware of any, Mr. Mayor. Do we have that ability here?
For virtual?
Someone brings a laptop, sure.
Okay. So,
So we don't have one on
And
location.
just remember that if you are that virtual person, you're going to trigger a lot of people on the board because everything has to be done by roll
Roll
call.
call
Yes.
at that point, yes.
yes, it does.
If there's one person virtual, you still
That's
have to do,
right.
you still have to do everything by roll call.
I'll
Okay.
correct that statement. We could actually, the laptop in that closet,
Could be set up.
it is set up. We
Okay.
could bring to me on Teams, Zoom,
Mhm.
Perfect.
Okay.
connect them to the audio.
Okay.
That is true.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
then that answers it, yeah.
All right.
As long as,
Perfect.
as long as we can
Rich.
physically do it and
Rich,
or else,
you should never
Yeah,
miss a
so you
meeting.
go,
What?
You should never miss a meeting.
I have never. Is that it?
Into Article 5, if we're done with 4. Order of business. This goes into our, just kind of the way the agenda is going to go. I think those are pretty standard. Continuances may be granted. Those are good. We can table. If somebody doesn't appear, we can dismiss the case. We don't have to, but we may.
What does dismiss mean?
Dismiss would be you got to refile.
Okay, and repay.
In the absence of motion by the commission, the petition is continued to the next. So if we don't dismiss,
Then it's
it
continued.
just rolls over automatically. Number 6, let's see, where am I at? Article 5, number 6, procedure for public comment items not on the agenda. The commission may allot time for a block of public comment items not on the agenda. Everyone wishing to speak is allowed 3 minutes. I would like to add, at the discretion of the president. I hate having something, as me personally, limiting somebody to speaking if they're contributing to the argument.
That's fine.
He's speaking from
Yeah.
experience.
Yep.
He is speaking from experience.
Yes, yes. Just because I lined up 12 people to give me their 3 minutes.
Some
I
other-
did.
Some other commissioners don't have any limitations at all, and
Yeah.
things drag on and they don't know, can we limit?
Yeah, and
it?
I think if we leave, and that's why I'm okay with 3 minutes as long as there's discretion, because right now there is none.
But everyone wishing to speak is allowed 3 minutes. And those 3 minutes cannot be gifted.
Well,
Correct.
Right.
Those 3 minutes cannot be gifted.
there is, that is in here.
Is it?
Let me find it. You have 3 minutes, but you may combine up to 5 minutes or something similar to that.
6
Two
minutes.
is,
No.
it's a representative for speaker.
Yes. We're getting there.
I see what you're saying.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Your representative may go farther. Anything on Article 6 or anything on Article 5 before we move on?
So you're saying that they couldn't go 12 minutes, but the one representative could give
Yeah.
5, period.
So
I do
someone's-
like- that was
like a
fine.
Homeowner association speaking on behalf of several.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that person gets 5 minutes, not 15.
Article 6, notice of hearings. These are again pretty, I'll say, state law type things or requirements. Anything there, Mike? In 6?
No,
Okay,
I'm good.
No, you have notes in front of you, so I just don't want to pass up what you got. Procedures for hearings, Article 7. A public hearing, the petitioner or another party may appear on their own behalf or represented by an agent or legal counsel. On the order of the hearing, and this is more of a public hearing type situation. And number 3, the commission may, at the discretion of the president, extend the time limits. The president may request representative of each side to speak for the entire group or portions of the group, but cannot require such representation against the wishes of the group involved. Yeah, huh?
So in other words, if you have somebody coming, say you've got where I've seen a lot, got a subdivision proposed for a field, you get the neighbors next to it, you've got 6 people from the adjoining neighborhood that want to speak out. You can't say, hey, you 6 need to pick someone to speak on your behalf for the whole neighborhood,
Oh,
or for those 6 parties. They can, each of those people can come up and speak.
And they can have a representative for themselves, but we cannot require them to do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
They choose to do
then I like that.
And we definitely did, and I'm glad that the approach we're taking here was making sure, because there's one community we're working with, that they actually do it as a block. So all the people, all the remonstrants, you get 10 minutes total. And I'm just like, whoa, that is
Ooh.
not.
wow.
if
That
you
sounds like a
want it-
lawsuit waiting to
If you
happen.
want to upset people,
Yeah.
that is the way to do it. You've got to let people speak.
Is there any language in here then about the meetings about, for that instance, if it's a new subdivision and everybody's basically just having the same comment?
Yes, the president can, so it may be farther back, but basically the president can say it's repetition and president may terminate repetitious or irrelevant testimony. Petitioner presents their case. Again, it has a 15-minute maximum. I don't like that. I think 15 minutes is plenty for just about everything, but I don't like having that. Anybody?
The petitioner presenting, when they're presenting their case, they're
Mhm.
only getting 15 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of a move. Not, I'd say 90% of the time.
I
it's
do.
less
I
than
agree with that.
15%.
I agree with that. So if we go
Mhm.
16 minutes, is somebody gonna raise a stink that the guy
Well,
got to
you
go too
would-
long?
You would.
Yes, I
you
would.
reference this.
Yes, I would, because it's
You would
written
say
there.
you're in violation of Article.
Article 7, Section 3, subsection D. Where are you gonna justify that?
Okay.
So can we strike that?
Would you extend it by the
That's
president?
just for them presenting.
Say that again?
Oh, so if it's a large subdivision, though,
Right.
and they're presenting
Yeah.
for 15 minutes, I think that's maybe where that's gonna come
Right,
into play. So
It is.
15 minutes is not enough, and so if you don't have anything in there.
Could you extend it by the president?
Yes.
At the,
Yeah.
just add at the discretion of the
Discretion
president? I'm fine with that.
The sentence is already there in the paragraph, describe, like order of the hearing,
Oh, commission may at the
Yeah,
discretion
that's
extend time limits.
Mhm.
Okay,
any of them.
perfect.
Covered.
We set a deadline and then
Okay.
if you want to, you know.
Words are important.
They
Rules are
say
important.
that At least the word must is not in there.
I haven't seen, I should have scanned for that. I forgot. I'm on G. All comments and questions are addressed to the commission's presiding officer. The audience and petitioner may not engage in dialogue without presiding officer's consent. I totally agree with that. Then individuals 3 minutes maximum, spokesperson 5 minutes maximum. At the president's discretion would be what I would add there. Same thing with J. The petitioner responds to comments made during public hearing, 5 minutes maximum at president's discretion. And if we're covered with that sentence above, I'm okay with that too. Evidence. Number 5, excuse me, not evidence, but number 5. Petitioners and audience members must present all evidence they possess concerning the case at the public hearing. So there was a county lawsuit about this. Somebody brought a binder full of stuff. It was or wasn't considered. I don't remember.
Was not
Right
considered,
here.
and the county won the case. They were directed not to.
You're right. Legal counsel directed not to consider that information because it was a 2-inch binder full of stuff that couldn't be given due consideration in a 30-minute meeting. I don't know how we change it. I don't have a good, unless we just say must present all the evidence in advance, but then that's,
So I would say that, okay, so petitioners and audience members must present all the evidence they possess concerning the case of the public hearing. I think when it says evidence, it could be oral, it could be written, and then if it's too much for you to review at the meeting, you could say we need to continue the case to the next meeting to review all of the evidence in case you don't have.
Well, why, if this is a petitioner, then why are they not presenting?
The petitioner there are rules about the petitioner having to give all the information at least, I think, like 10 days or something before the
Right.
public hearing, and they cannot give any new changes
So
to
this
the
is
case.
audience.
Yeah, this is
So
about
the audience.
Let me see then, no further oral testimony will be accepted, the public hearing is closed, that's more about just the order, that if you close it, you know. But then only a written response by petitioner or audience member to the staff report prepared solely for the case under consideration will be accepted by the secretary after the close of the public hearing. Statements will be accepted no later than the day on which the commission's decision is made on the specific case in question.
so that would be Mr. Nasser's letter that we had tonight, right? It was presented today,
Yes.
right? And we did consider it tonight. I think that was fine. But if Mr. Nasser or anybody, so I don't want to run him down, if he threw 100 pages at us this afternoon,
We wouldn't have been able to.
right, we couldn't consider that tonight. What would be we would have to continue?
You
Where
would
does it
continue, we could expand on this as well, saying that if someone has maybe a certain amount of evidence that is large, maybe we require that they provided at least 5 days, you know, for example, when I were to give you step reports and any physical packets, they submitted then for the review. But if that amount of evidence is given at the meeting, then maybe the president could, at the discretion, decide, or you as a commission could decide, we didn't have enough time, we either don't review it or continue,
Continue.
right? And you have that discretion.
And I think continuances are especially, I would say with a large presentation coming in, or, time consuming and expensive, so continuances are just dragging things out a month potentially, right?
Right.
Is that number of days language in this?
No, that's what we're talking
I
about.
was just reading through, trying to see if it was in here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
only
she's
that it has to be in the day of.
suggesting that we add some
I think,
And part of the language or words somewhat vague, it's just that 100 pages that gets brought in, is it
rare,
relevant,
yeah.
or is it?
Right.
A delay tactic,
yes.
perhaps?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so that's what you get into. It would be up to it's the discretion of the board if they feel that there's new information that has been presented and needs further consideration.
I think for that, maybe just, can you mock something up for us and to that effect that we could consider next time?
Yes.
Where do you go?
We're still on.
6?
Yeah, 6. Basically, that is a petitioner or audience member may submit a list of persons opposing or favoring. It's basically a petition, right? It's a past petition. I don't know how much stock I put in those personally, because you can find 50 friends to sign about anything.
Right.
You have that many? I'm sorry. You walked right in.
So low,
You
so
walked
low.
That's what they have AI.
Could we just strike that altogether? Would anybody? I think 6 should be just completely stricken.
Yeah.
I remember one came before the city council and it was 30% or more 40% of people didn't even live in town. Right? They were not affected. It was maybe something else, actually. No, really, I think it was something else. Article 8, decisions. I'm fine with. Mike, what else you got? I'm actually out.
Nothing, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you've gone through them all, actually.
I have 2 things that are not in here. Annual reports are state statute, correct?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. And back to the UDO, 19G talks about a floodplain administrator. So the zoning administrator designated staff of the department is designated floodplain administrator. Is that not Judy in the county? It is, right?
It is, yeah.
Judy
Right, but she
is.
doesn't have jurisdiction in the city? I'm asking you.
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. Does the city have a different floodplain administrator than the county?
I would assume currently they don't.
Right, because they were combined, right?
Right.
But should they have?
Yeah,
Yes.
and this is where we have the fluid designation of the administrator. So the question is that. What I was doing is actually going through that process right now to become a certified floodplain administrator for this exact reason.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Question answered.
Essentially, yes, the city needs to designate someone to serve that role. It does not need to be a city employee.
Okay.
What does that certification, take?
So DNR has right now a course that can be either taken online, or there is a 1-day, 8-hour, basically the same course, but like you spend there 8 hours and they give you that certificate.
Do you have access then to GIS to be able to update GIS, or is that completely different?
JS is in the county map, or?
Yeah.
The county has the steps, I think, whatever information we want to add.
That's different than the floodplain though, because the floodplain's a different website.
That is, yeah, DNR, the Department of Natural Resources has that information. Do you mean,
What are you monitoring as the floodplain administrator? Like,
Building,
so basically.
oh, because if it's in a
Improvements.
floodplain.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anytime a permit comes in for anything,
Mhm.
you first check whether it's in a floodplain, and then, for example, if something in the floodway, I have to send them to the DNR because they have to get their permit before I can issue anything.
Mhm.
Then there are also certain records that a development administrator has to have in office. So whatever FEMA, so the federal government, whatever they want us to keep track of, we keep track of.
certain elevations, right, for the 100-year flood.
They-
100,
Yeah,
300,
we build stuff,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
They also, by us having a floodplain chapter in our UDO, it allows us to get reduced or flood insurance because we're a participating county. They do come in and do audits.
Mhm.
As I've heard they have. They come in to see that we're following the procedures that we have in here to help mitigate those things. So if not, we could lose our, I don't know how much the subsidy is for the, for the flood insurance.
Part of it is the insurance, another part of it is when you participate and you're in an NFIP community, and let's say a disaster happens, you can apply for the funding, the federal government gives you that money. If you're not a participant, you don't. So right now, this new UDO should have, right, the language that is the most updated DNR's language.
Mhm.
Because one of the requirements is basically you have the most up-to-date federal, state, approved kind of language
Mhm.
for the federal.
My last thing is, and this is really a question to you, Mr. Mayor, is David Smith still our attorney, or do we have an attorney that will be present?
Yes, so the plan was actually to move the planning commission into the envelope of the city's legal counsel so that the RDC, city council, board of works, and planning commission were all governed under one attorney. Our city attorney is now running for judge.
Judge, yeah.
Which has complicated this a little bit.
Yeah.
So actually I'm working with Matt
Okay.
Quigley to determine what that transition plan looks like. But I met with an individual yesterday. The plan is to have somebody here representing
Okay.
planning commission by next meeting.
When you need them, you need them. When you don't have them,
Right.
that's the time you need them,
Exactly.
right? So,
The plan is to have coverage.
Mhm.
that's all I've got. Anybody else? I always like to talk a lot.
Oksana, do we have anything coming up for next month?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing yet.
I don't know when the cutoff is.
Okay. Moving through the agenda then, I think, I want to see that one change before we make any vote on this, unless somebody just wants to vote, on this. We have no public here to make public comment. Mr. Mayor, do you have any comment? Or-
Yep.
I would say we'll open for public comment.
Just I think the comment was made, actually, I think both my comments that Michelle's already made, but this is a living, breathing document that you made a favorable recommendation regarding, that can be understated. Like, we know that there's likely 10% of this that could be, as we go through this, that's, man, we probably need to edit that, treat it as that, right? This is, we're entrusting that this governing body is going to help us to lead that to success. And another comment Michelle made that I think is true. There's a great collective of people here who, by doing right, some of this, their work for the city of Tipton, the county, trades members are here, real estate. This is a great representative body of people who interact with planning almost every day. So I think that's a really powerful now commission that some of this by chance members have been here for a while, but to have the inclusion of the utility, which is the gap, I think we continue to work to close that communication gap. So just want to thank you all for your participation. And then last thing, the building commissioners, our last full-time employment that we're hiring for the planning department. Those interviews have concluded. We're in the final process of identifying, selecting the member. We treated this a little differently. So this will be a department head of the city of Tipton. It's traditionally an appointed member by the mayor to serve in that capacity. Because I have familiarity with these individuals, I actually entrusted an interview panel to do those interviews to create a little more parity in that approach. So by chance, because of their service to the city of Tipton, 2 members on the planning commission actually did those interviews. Again, it's coincidence they're here in the planning commission, but again, I'm sitting in the audience thinking how great that was that 2 members of the planning commission actually participated in what was traditionally a selected department by the mayor. So that's kind of the news there. I think that individual should be brought on board and again, represented at the next meeting.
So I just want to, the way I heard it, I'll say they, that team made a recommendation to you.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I've yet to have my meeting with the individual to vet that. I need to make communication with them, but yeah, the hope and plan is that they will be here representing the city's planning department at the next meeting.
Look forward to it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for the 2 additional
Yeah.
members that you found.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be very valuable to the
Yes.
board. Very valuable.
helping to identify those pain points that
Mhm.
we should better.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Anybody else have any discussion? I'll say thank you to Oksana. Thank you, Brian. This has been a long process. Look forward to working with you. I'll say, please email me. I'm very responsive, and whatever you need or have questions about, just let me know. I'm happy to jump in.
Welcome to the board, gentlemen.
Yes.
Mhm.
Welcome both of you. Look forward to it.
Thank you for volunteering to sit with us, and we have great time every month.
I'll try to get back to the 3-minute meetings if we can from now on instead of the hour-and-a-half ones. I do have a record to uphold.
Do you have the record, or do I still have the record?
I had it under 3, so we'll check with Judy for the exact. But
No.
with that, Michelle, would you like to offer any other motions?
I will make a motion to adjourn. That's my job, guys.
Yeah, don't
The
make that
only reason
motion,
I'm here.
please.
The only reason I'm here.
Do we have a
I made that
second?
mistake already.
Second.
Thank you, Jackie. All in favor of adjournment? Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
I was poking him just to